I came back to my hometown searching for peace. But what I found still haunts me to this day. I used to believe that nothing truly bad could happen in a town like Maple Creek. It was the kind of place people describe with gentle smiles, quiet streets, white fences, familiar faces, town where everyone waved, where everyone knew your past, and somehow that made you feel safe, or maybe it just made you feel watched. I left Maple Creek when I was 25, convinced that the world outside had something bigger waiting for me, bigger dreams, bigger purpose, bigger life. What I didn't realize was that I was also leaving behind the only people who ever truly understood me. 10 years later, I came back, not because I succeeded, but because I failed. The city had a way of stripping you down. Ambitions turned into bills, passion turned into survival, and somewhere between sleepless nights and empty mornings, I stopped recognizing the man staring back at me in the mirror. Coming home felt like surrender, but also relief. At first, Maple Creek looked exactly the same. Same trees lining the roads, same diner at the corner, same hardware store with its faded sign. But the longer I stayed, the more I felt it, a subtle shift beneath the surface, like a familiar song played slightly off key. People greeted me warmly, yet conversations felt shorter. Laughter sounded forced. Smiles lingered a second too long, as if everyone was pretending we were still living in a simpler time. Even the air felt heavier. Then there was Claire, my little sister. Claire Bennett had always been unstoppable, sharp tongued, fearless, impossible to ignore. She used to fill every room with energy, like silence itself couldn't survive around her. But the Claire I came home to was quieter, too quiet. She hugged me tightly when I arrived, but there was tension in her arms. Her voice trembled when she spoke. Her eyes flicked toward windows, doors, shadows, as if something invisible was always standing behind me. Are you okay? I asked her one evening. She nodded too quickly. I'm fine, Noah. But Claire had never been good at hiding things from me. Days passed and the unease grew. Late nights, whispered phone calls, sudden mood changes, and sometimes when she thought I wasn't looking, I caught a glimpse of something I had never seen in her before, fear. I tried to tell myself I was imagining it until the night she didn't come home. At first, it felt like nothing. Claire had always been independent, stubborn, capable of taking care of herself, but midnight turned into 1 a.m., 1 turned into 2, and the silence inside the house became unbearable. By morning, panic had replaced denial. Sheriff Douglas Reed organized a search almost immediately. The entire town joined in. Flashlights cut through forests, fields, and back roads like desperate beams of hope. Everyone looked worried. Everyone sounded concerned. But beneath it all, I sensed something else, something colder. 3 days later, they found Claire's car near the old lumber mill. Driver's door open, keys still inside, no sign of Claire. That's when Maple Creek stopped pretending. The smiles disappeared, the whispers grew louder, doors began to lock, curtains stayed closed, and everywhere I went, I felt it, that same invisible tension tightening around the town, like Maple Creek was holding its breath. Hannah Price was the first person brave enough to say it. Claire wasn't the first. Over coffee in the diner, her hands trembled as she spoke. There were others, Noah, over the years. Disappearances, quiet ones, a teenage boy who ran away, a middle aged woman who moved suddenly, a traveler who was never really here. Stories that never quite made sense, but were never questioned, because in small towns, people don't just protect each other, they protect That illusion, I couldn't ignore it anymore. Okay, grief turned into obsession, obsession turned into anger, and anger pushed me to dig where others refused. Old newspapers, archive reports, conversations with people who avoided eye contact, and every fragmented clue led back to the lumber mill. I went there alone. Maybe it was reckless, maybe it was desperate, but when someone you love vanishes, logic becomes a luxury you can't afford. Inside, the mill smelled of rust, dust, and decay. Sunlight barely pierced through broken windows, casting long shadows that seemed to move when I did. Then I heard it, a sound so faint I almost dismissed it. A voice. Noah, my heart stopped. Claire, alive, locked behind a heavy metal door. I don't remember how I forced it open. I only remember the moment our eyes met, relief, terror, disbelief crashing together in a single breath. She was weak, bruised, shaking, but alive. I held her as she cried, my mind struggling to process the reality I was touching. You're safe now, I whispered. But Claire's grip tightened, and then she said the words that shattered everything I thought I knew. It was him, Sheriff Reed, the man leading the searches, the man comforting the town, the man everyone trusted, the monster hiding behind a badge. What followed felt surreal: the arrest, the investigation, the horrifying discoveries buried beneath years of silence. A pattern of crimes, though, concealed not just by one man, like, but by a town, too afraid to face the truth. Like, Maple Creek didn't just have a secret, it had a wound, and Claire, she survived physically. But survival doesn't always mean healing. Sometimes it just means learning how to carry the weight of what should never have happened. As for Maple Creek, it never truly recovered because once the illusion of safety cracks, every memory becomes suspect. Every familiar place feels tainted. Every smile from the past begins to look like a lie you were too innocent to recognize. And me, I came home searching for peace. Instead, I found the truth Maple Creek had been hiding for years, a truth that changed the way I see small towns, trust, and the fragile stories we tell ourselves just to feel safe. Because evil doesn't always arrive like a storm. Sometimes it grows quietly right in front of you. And by the time you finally see it, it's already taken something you can never fully get back.